Self-improvement YouTubers will tell you that reading books is the key to success. When you hear this, you get excited. Your breath starts to quicken as you pick up the nearest self-improvement book. And you get to town. Your eyes start to water from the pace at which you're reading, going too fast to even comprehend the words that are on the page. If this is anything like you, where you want to learn from reading, you just can't seem to get the concepts to stick, then this video is a good guide for you. The way in which you're supposed to read to genuinely improve your life is by taking notes and reviewing them. Now, this is where some people get a sour taste in their mouth. They're thinking, I don't like to take notes, that's what you do in school. Believe it or not, taking and reviewing notes is the best way to learn anything. So I'm going to teach you a system for reading books. The way that this system is structured is chapter note-taking, actionable steps, and review. With that in mind, let's get into chapter note-taking. When you first pick up a book and you start reading, you should have a notebook beside you. This shouldn't be like a small little notebook, this should be a good sized notebook like this. When you finish a chapter in your book, what you need to do is write a condensed summary of that chapter in your notebook. This shouldn't be more than 1 or 2 sentences. The reason that you'll be doing this is because the further that you go into a book without taking notes, the more concepts that slip your mind. In order to retain all the valuable knowledge that this book is providing, you will have to write a summary of each chapter. After you have written down this short summary, below it you will write down in bullet points extra details that are worth remembering and real life connections that you can make to the chapter. I will give you an example of a real life connection that I made in my notes. In How to Win Friends and Influence People, Dale Carnegie goes into the concept of giving people genuine compliments. So after I've written down a short summary of this chapter, I wrote down about a situation I had with a friend where I gave them a genuine compliment and it improved their mood. This act of making a real-life connection allows you to remember and understand the concept far better. In another bullet point underneath the chapter, you will be writing down an actionable step in which you can clearly and easily follow. I will give you another example of mine so that you can understand this. In the book Deep Work, Cal Newport goes into the concept of tallying down all the deep work hours that you do throughout the week. So after I wrote down a summary of this chapter, I wrote down these exact words as my actionable step. I will create a scoreboard on my whiteboard of how many deep work hours I put in that week. I find that when I write down these clear and actionable steps, I tend to follow them because there's no way that you can reinterpret the wording or try to wiggle out of it. They are exact things that I can do. I want you to note the language that I use in these actionable steps. I don't say I can or I could. I say at the very beginning, I will, followed by whatever I will do. I find that this simple change in wording further emphasizes that this is not a suggestion to myself, this is an exact demand. Now let us talk about how you should review notes after you have written them down. At the end of a reading and note-taking session, you will close your book and start to review all the notes that you have taken that day. The way in which you should review should be with intense focus and visualization. As you read through a summary of the chapter, take time to fully understand the concept and the meaning of that chapter. Make sure that it makes sense to you. When you get down to reading the actionable steps that you wrote down, I want you to vividly visualize you doing that actionable step. I will use my previous example about tallying down deep work hours. When I read, I will tally down my deep work hours on a whiteboard. I visualize myself picking up a marker and writing down an outline for the tallying. I also will visualize myself at the end of some deep work going over to my whiteboard and then tallying down how many hours I worked. I will visualize exactly how it would look when I'm doing it. You will do these visualizations for every chapter. When you are completely done reading a book, you will use this exact same strategy, except you will have to go through all the notes that you have taken on the book. So the last piece of advice that I can give you is that you should have dedication every day to implementing your actionable steps. Usually at the end of these videos, I like to recommend a book to you in which you can go further into this topic. The thing is, the strategies that I am providing to you today are ones that I had to create myself through constant trial and error. So if somebody does have a book on this topic, I would love to hear about it in the comments. That is literally all I have. I'll see ya.